What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome to episode number 61 of the Ambitious Vet Show with Service Warfare Naval Officer Veteran, CEO of TLD Recruiting and Veteran Franchise Group, Gilbert Saguid. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet, where we believe if you desire more, you have to become more. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Combat Veteran turned passion-driven entrepreneur. On this show, I dive into the trenches with today's top military veteran thought leaders and influencers who know what it takes to not only pay the bills after the military, but really make an impact. You're going to hear their stories, their failures, and even some golden grenades that empower you to execute on what matters most in your life right now. Are you looking to create time and money freedom after making the needed sacrifice to fight for our freedoms? Want to be your own boss? Are you tired of the same old highly routine, structured life with no time freedom or money freedom in sight? A career is not your only option after transitioning from the military. In fact, 45% of veterans who get out to start their own business only fail 2 years later due to the lack of business education and direction. Does this sound familiar? Ready to narrow your learning curve and risk by plugging into a proven business process and system that creates the lifestyle you desire most after serving your nation? The Veteran Franchise Group has your back. As military veteran franchise brokers, they mentor and provide their veteran clients with the industry data, science-based entrepreneur personal assessments for effective matchmaking, company data, and the resources needed from their portfolio of over 500 franchise opportunities to empower you to choose and start the next chapter in your life as a franchise business owner. Ambitious Vet, simply visit veteransfranchisegroup.com to schedule your free strategy call today. Again, visit veteransfranchisegroup.com to schedule your free strategy call today.
Hey, this is Steven, host of Knucklehead Podcast, and you're listening to the Ambitious Vet Podcast with Chris Hoffman.
Welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Vet. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your valuable time. Time is the only thing you never get back in life, Ambitious Vet. So I want to thank you for taking that time out of your day to come dive into the trenches and fuel your mind with golden grenades. Surprisingly, our second biggest audience that listens to this is the military and veterans out in the United Kingdom, France, and Sweden are our three biggest audience. So if you are personally tuning in from there, thank you for having us see how big this thing is getting. See, one thing I've recently learned this past week is it doesn't matter if you're transitioning out of the military in the United States, United Kingdom, France, Sweden, Serbia, Canada, Germany, India, no matter what market we're at, you guys are all dealing with the same stuff. So thank you for having us see how much needed this message is globally. Guys, if you're in any of those countries, feel free to reach out to us and see how we could help provide resources, tools, or even some of our offerings that could help you narrow the gap from where you're at to where you want to go in executing the next mission in your life. So who do we have today on the show? Well, we have Gilbert Saguid. This episode, guys, is amazing, right? He starts with just talking about his passion, his next mission, and his passion just towards empowering veterans like you and I to execute through recruiting and also franchising into a new proven process of business. Also, we transition into a great conversation around breaking the stigma around personal and professional development and us not actually being broken, but sometimes we need to break through things to elevate our performance, our productivity, our leadership, whatever that is as far as what our end aim is, right? From there, guys, we go into his transitional story where he transitioned twice out of the uniform. Once was enough. He went back to do some anti-piracy stuff, which he shares some great stories around that on how you can actually create a life for yourself, not react to it. Some really good stuff there, guys. And then he just talks about the power of vision and how that will truly narrow the gap from where you're at to where you want to go. Just having a vision and then really just, reverse engineering that. So guys, I'm excited to go ahead and dive into the trenches with Gilbert Saguid. Let's rock and roll. Are you there, my man?
I am. How's it going? Thanks for having me. And hello, ambitious veteran tribe. It's good to be here.
Brother, we're blessed to have your presence inside of here, man. Go ahead and fill those gaps and let us know a little about who you are as a person that not very many people know about.
Yeah. No, awesome, man. That was a really great intro. So, some of the things that about me is that I'm committed to being able to empower military veterans to be able to discover their new mission in life. And not only that, their new passion in life, because that's what drives us, right? Is our passion, what we want to achieve. And I do that as a coach, as a CEO, as a business owner with my two businesses. And I have the honor almost every day to be able to meet these ambitious military veterans, where I get to coach them, clean up maybe their resume or the way that they interview or their approach in finding that next step to empower them to reach that goal. And a little bit about me that you may not know. Back in high school, I was the atypical Filipino dude that was a breakdancer / DJ / I tried to rap, but it just didn't flow, man. You know what it was? It was the breathing. I couldn't get the breathing.
That's it. Yeah, the breathing. That's awesome.
But big thing is that, and I'm really proud, is that 3 months ago, I actually proposed to my girlfriend, the love of my life. We did 39 years to be able to meet, and we did that in Paris, and we're going to get married in October next year.
That's awesome, man. You got a whole lot going on. Not only are you making a difference, man, but you're falling in love, and you got your companion. And man, can you still dance a little bit?
Yeah, I find myself at weddings when I have a couple beers. Yeah, I try to not as nimble as I used to be.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, brother. So I want to break, we were talking about this earlier today as we were setting up for this interview, but I want to break this stigma, man, for any veteran that's out of the uniform that's heard of Landmark Worldwide. For those guys that don't know my background, I have either led or coached transformative programs for a company called Landmark Worldwide, which is a global organization. And I think it's over like 20 different countries right now. Over 2.4 million people have done those programs, from CEOs to high performance athletes to, stay at home moms to people just trying to figure it all out. So Gilbert, man, you're one of the most successful guys that I've actually brought on the podcast that is a graduate of the Landmark Forum. And I just want to kind of ask you, man, what's this whole stigma of like landmarks for broken people, or, you haven't figured it out, or something's wrong with you? What would you add to that?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because there is a stigma out there. And, whenever I share the breakthroughs I've had in my life through the participation in that program, people are like, oh, that's great. That's great for you. You probably needed it. You probably were at a point in your life where something really happened, and I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
But how I actually discovered it was, when I lived in Los Angeles with my first job out of the Navy, I ran a really cool crew. I think I was like 29 years old, so I was making up for my 20s living in LA because I was in the military so long that I just went out and met people and networked. And the group of people that I met and hung out with were really like just different people, meaning they were actresses, they were actors, they were talent managers in the industry, they were restaurant owners. And there was one evening that was really, that stands out. It was a point where we were all just sitting together. I was, still working, and I was in this little bit of a rut, I would say, with my job, that I wanted something more. And I don't know how the conversation went about, but I was just like, well, how did you guys all get together? Like, how did you actually, get to the point where you can follow your dreams? Because these people lived in Texas, New York, other places, and they basically just said, F it, I'm going to go to, I don't know if I can say that. They said, forget about it. I'm going to move. Yeah. I'm going to follow my dreams. I'm just going to go for it, right? I'm in my 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever it is, but I'm going to go for it. And when I asked them, like, what allowed you to like have that access to do that? Because that's scary, like I was middle management, just, got out of the military. I was in my safe zone, and they all said that they did this weekend course called Landmark. And I was like, okay, what do you do? Well, there's people that they kind of talk, there's this leader, they kind of share, and all of a sudden people just have these huge breakthroughs and they go after what they want to achieve. And so I really wanted to do that because I want to up my game with my performance. And nobody had to ask me to sign up. I actually just went for it, paid for it, to the course. And the biggest thing I got out of that program was I did up my performance. So what I discovered in the Landmark program over that weekend was there was a certain way that I operated in life, which allowed me to be very successful. And what it was is because I had a huge work ethic. I was that dude, I was a prior enlisted guy. I wasn't a Marine. But what I did to achieve what I achieved to become an officer and get a commissioning program was I went balls to the wall, did everything I had to do, whether that be study, work, 20 hours a day. I just had that work ethic. I had my eye on the prize and I went for it. And it was good, right? It allowed me to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And also the fact that I was, I was a pretty smart guy. In high school, I was an underachiever just because I didn't like doing homework and whatever. And the military kind of changed that, with the discipline wise. But it allowed me to get to a point where when I got out of the military, I had a lot of success in the military. And then there was a point where I was like, okay, well, I peaked where I'm at. Like I'm no longer happy with what I'm doing in the military, and I want to find something different. So I transitioned out of the military. And then I went to corporate America and really climbed that corporate ladder, doing the same thing that allowed me to be successful. Strong work ethic. I'm going to work. There was a point where I actually slept under my desk.
Wow.
Project. And that's just unheard of, like in corporate America, because people are like, I'm going to work my 8 hours and be out of there. Sacrifice relationships. I'm going to sacrifice everything so that I can get what I want to achieve in my corporate life. Well, I realized that in the weekend, there was this way of me being and the way I operated that I didn't have to live that way or operate that way, because I really just peaked at where I was in my life.
Right.
Because of the stories I told myself or the conditioning I had back in my, as I was growing up. And so the breakthrough I really got was I can actually create my life the way I want to create it. Right.
Yeah.
I can actually be the author of my life versus the guy that just is known for working hard and doing what it takes. And so when I discovered that, it was like, oh, okay, that's a cool thing I can do. Let me see how I can do that. And what I was able to create from that is, this life now that I have two businesses. I work when I want to work. I get to dictate how much I get paid. I get to have this amazing relationship just because versus just being at the effect of life. And that's what I really got. Yeah. So it's all performance, man. And the cool thing about it, the side effects that I got from all that training was I'm more related with people. I just communicate a lot better with people, and life is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Long story short, right?
Yeah. Long story short, man. And, 10 years later, right. And it's crazy because and I'll just add this and we'll continue to move on, but it's just like, some of the people that go into that program, right. And that we've seen go through the programs, because you've been part of the leadership body, some of the leadership bodies inside of there as well. It's crazy because some of the older people that are like later in life, like 50s, man, if I only had this when I was in my 20s, man, I'd be unleashed. I would have done everything I said I was going to do, man. It really does get down to those blind spots that you just don't even know that's there, that has you gain access and get back into action, man. I'm just, I just acknowledge you for actually taking the tools, getting out there and implementing them, man, because it never drives me crazy. And any ambitious vet here across the world, big shout out to UK, India, Brazil, everyone that listens to the podcast, everyone live and watching this on replay. Guys, does it ever irritate you that people get some great tools but never apply them, guys? Anywhere you're at, anything you invest in your life to become more, make sure you apply those principles, just like Gilbert. And I promise you're going to be looking back and be like, wow, I got this kind of a life. So thanks.
100%.
Thanks for inspiring all of us with that. So brother, how was your transition story? Tell us about that and how you found traction out of the uniform.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I actually transitioned twice.
Okay.
The first one didn't really work out well.
Yeah.
So I got out in 2009. Probably the worst times to get out of the military, right? The economy and everything.
Yeah.
And I was so sheltered in the military of like not knowing what was going on. I had my eye on the prize of what I wanted to achieve. And so I got out. I was like, okay, well, I know I want to make a certain amount of money And it doesn't matter what it is, what am I going to do? What am I going to do how am I going to get there? So I found a recruiter. They helped me out. I found a job in LA. But man, it took like 20 interviews, honestly, 20 interviews to actually succeed and find that job that I wanted. I mean, the first interview, it was a mess, man. It was one of those things where I think it was like working at Dannon in downtown Los Angeles in the manufacturing plant. And I was going to just be able to manage the factory workers and stuff like that. And I actually called them Yoplait or their competing company's name in an interview. And it was a point where they're like, you called us by our competitor. And I was like, okay, is it over? And he's like, yeah, it's over. But it really did take that practice, to build a team around me with my recruiters and other people that can connect me to the jobs I want. And I found an opportunity in LA. So the thing about it, though, is my only ambition or mission was to just find it. With all my experience enlisting and becoming an officer, I was like, this is what I'm worth, right? And funny thing about that was, without that fulfillment that I used to have in the military, I really was just lost. There was this point where I was looking at myself. I remember I was by this, like, I think it was a Starbucks, and I saw myself just all business professional with my coffee and my newspaper. Right. And I was like, man, if I was, 15-year-old Gilbert, I'd probably punch me in the face. I was just like, what am I doing with my life? I'm just pushing TPS reports and whatnot. Where before, I had this amazing life where I was protecting ships against pirates, doing mobile security and all these other really cool things in the military. But I had a conflict because I wanted to get out, because I wanted to, build myself as a civilian. But I kept holding on to the past, because we've all been there, right? Your second command, all you did was talk about your first command, because the good old days. And now that we're civilians, oh man, the military was so good because those were the good old days. It'll never be like that. Even though during that time you're like, man, this sucks. Yeah. And so I went to the reserves because of that, because I was that lost, and I actually positioned myself to deploy for a whole year. And so I was like, because the military was so good that I wanted to go back, but not full time. And so went back for a year, went back to the South Arabian Gulf, did anti-piracy security type stuff, with all that stuff with Iran and all that. And then I had my second chance of getting out. And my second chance of getting out was me going back, new boss, because everybody, it was a whole year, and a new VP, and just transitioning and finding my way through that, but still going back to that old way of like, man, that deployment, I missed the best time of my life. It sucks. So it was very difficult my second time around too, because I was even more confused and I didn't know what to do. And even more, I made myself wrong, because I was this, accomplished person, educated, killing it. And then again, I'm just super unfulfilled. So, I'll talk about like my failure. Like my biggest failure was at that point, I actually got demoted from my job. I got a year into it, I got promoted. And then shortly after that, I got demoted. And this was a high role where I was reporting directly for the VP of the company, at a director level role, but I just wasn't able to cut it because of the fact that I wasn't present. And so a big shift for me was the Landmark program. Yeah. It helped me discover, that I can create my life. I'm a veteran, and I am Gilbert, I'm whatever, but I also can create whatever I want to be. Yeah. It's going to take something, right? Actions you got to take to be able to be that person. And so that's my transition, man. And I think with these two, I know that with these two businesses, I had to go through that journey to be able to empower others, because I had those experiences. I had those downfalls, those ups and downs and stuff like that, to give me that experience and knowledge to be able to talk to people and just be vulnerable with them, to empower them.
Yeah, man. I'm sure even with the recruiting company that you have, I mean, you get to share those stories and how to properly prepare them, because, I don't know about, you or anybody that's watching this live replay on the podcast, but I mean, sometimes all you need is someone that's been there, knows how to overcome it, and knows how to bridge the gap for you, kind of like giving you that wisdom, those learned lessons, so you don't have to make the same mistakes, and you can actually just start, being successful sooner. So, I mean, I'm sure you.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you probably help a lot of people out with that your recruiting company. So that's awesome, brother. Thanks for being completely authentic. I mean, it's not easy. Ambitious Vet, think how not easy it is to share that you were demoted inside of a corporation. I mean, I know for myself as a sales trainer, as soon as I stepped up as a sales trainer in my last corporate job, there was a lot of conflict in the culture and me with the other sales managers and stuff like that. And there was always like that self-doubt that set in and was just like, should I just step down or should I step out? And I just remember a lot of like intense conversations with other sales managers. And I just want you to hear this because we all go through this stuff. The difference between me and Gilbert here is like, we're voicing it. Just share the stuff that, you're afraid to share about, and people will know how to meet you where you're at and pull you to where you want to go. So authenticity and transparency is always the message to becoming more out of the uniform. Sound good? All right. 100%. So, brother, what do you see as the biggest challenge for any ambitious vet that's getting out of the uniform to become more?
Yeah, the biggest challenge would definitely have to be us veterans not having that vision of what we want.
Yeah.
That vision that's just so juicy and so present and clear that you see it 5 years from now, and you're just like, man, that's amazing, right?
Right.
It's like, my life is amazing where I'm at right now. That doesn't matter. Any obstacles you have, any roadblocks or anything like that, it doesn't matter because you already envisioned that vision, right?
Yeah.
And the challenge for us veterans is that in the military, whether you're in for 4 years or even 20 years, the military actually just creates that vision for you. So, as an officer, right? I was a surface warfare officer. I already had that vision, already created that. In 18 months, I'm going to get my PIN, which is fully qualified surface warfare PIN, right? Yeah. That vision was already put in place because I knew that if I had that, I could be able to move on and be promotable and stuff like that. And so I knew that, okay, well, in order for me to have that, I need to step it back and figure out what actions do I need to take. I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. So that's either rank or even jobs or anything like that. Everything is so scripted for us, right? And we have that vision of what we want to accomplish because it's just right there. People have done it in the past. We know if we just keep our nose clean, we just push forward, we're going to achieve that, right?
Yeah.
When we get out of the military, it's just, we don't have that anymore. I had the goal of like, I want to make a certain amount of money. That was my vision, but it was a shallow vision. There was more that I needed to actually take the actions to fulfill on those things. Because when you have that strong vision, you're going to be so motivated to do what you need to do because you already saw that you had it, if that makes sense. So
yeah, I mean, you get, the beginning of this month, I'm gonna be completely transparent on this show because that's kind of how we do things around here. And, from the minute you started sponsoring this whole network from the beginning of the month, thank you, by the way, for doing that, believing in the mission. It was, you reminded me of the vision. You gave me a Tony Robbins meditation that I do every morning when I'm, and if those of you guys are listening on the podcast, I'm pumping my arms up and down, breathing deeply. And brother, I think it's so important, man, because when you see the vision, the daily failures and the conflict management that comes up, I mean, it's a lot smaller when you know where you're going, and would you say you can pivot a little bit easier?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you already know in your head it's a done deal, right? So it's just now navigating and figuring out how to actually accomplish it. And one of my favorite quotes, I don't know if it was Tony Robbins or somebody, but he said that if you don't have a vision of the future, you're just left with the memories of the past. Yeah, man. I live by that, man. So what I mean by vision, whether you're getting out of the military, you're trying to look for a job, or you're trying to have a business, you got to be concrete about that. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I want a job in Los Angeles. I want to make $100K. I want to be a field service engineer, and I want to work for this company. So live that, tend to that, garden that, make that alive, and figure out what actions do you need to do, who do you need to talk to make that happen.
Bingo. Love it, man. I couldn't say that's the perfect way to say it, brother. It sounds like a recruiter there, man. And a franchise broker right there.
Yeah.
So, brother, let's dive into why we're all here, man. Why franchising for veterans, man?
Yeah, no, good question. So as a recruiter, I've been recruiting for a while and I have my business now. The one thing that uh, the way I got out of the military was I met a recruiter. And, transitioning out of the military, all people talked about was, okay, are you going to go to school? If you're enlisted or an officer, are you going to go back to school or are you going to go get a job? Because we'll teach you how to do that. We'll write a resume for you. We'll help you with the GI Bill and all that. But there was always that third component that was missing, right? Business ownership. So why is business ownership never really talked about? I know recently with the Rosie Network and all these amazing different organizations that are empowering people to go towards business ownership, I had to figure out why isn't there an avenue there? And I know for sure, I'm a surface warfare officer, we drive ships, make sure they don't crash, do other things. And any evolution we do, I don't know in the Marine Corps and how you guys operate, but everything we do, we have this presentation called ORM, Operational Risk Management. And you go in 20 minutes and figure out what is the worst case scenario, the most drastic thing that could happen. Let's say a ship crashing another ship. And so then we really evaluate, okay, well, what can we actually do to prevent that? What actions can we do? This. It's mitigating factors to prevent that from happening, right? And after we put those actions, if we're still at high risk, we're probably not going to do it. Yeah. That's how we operate, right? A lot of times that's repeated and we go through that. And the way I see it is that we don't really promote business ownership because it is very high. There is a risk there. You want me to spend my money that I saved up and go join, start a business that 50% are going to fail. Yeah. Statistically. And I've never ran a business. I've been in the military for the last 4 years. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'll go get a job and figure out the business world. And then maybe if I save up enough money, then I'll go start a business. Or actually, I'm going to get caught up in the rat race. So I honestly every time I talk to somebody as a recruiter, I love being a business owner. I get to dictate the way I live my life, and I love that. Yeah. And I get to be able to dictate how much I make, which I love. And I've tried to figure out what is a good business model that allow us veterans that are a perfect fit for us veterans. And I discovered that franchises are a good alternative. Not even an alternative, actually, it's a good solution. Yeah. And the reason why is because with a franchise, just like the military, you have a team around you, right? You have basically somebody that had a good idea, tried it out, created a business, wrote down all the operating procedures to do that, and figure out exactly how to be profitable. And did that again, signed somebody else up to do the same thing as a franchise. They're doing it again. And all of a sudden now they have all these people that are franchise owners doing their idea. And then this company is supporting those people to be successful. So if that's not a team, I don't know what is. To ensure, because here's the thing, they want you to be successful, because if they push you to, if they just sell you on signing up for this business and they're just no good and they fail, it looks bad on that business owner, right? The franchise business owner. So they don't want that. So they got your back. They want to make sure you're the right fit. And so it's, reducing that risk is the biggest thing that I see in, starting a franchise. And really the next thing I think is that we're not educated. And that's what my goal with VFG is, just educating people about the franchise model. And not only that is, every franchise doesn't have to be a restaurant like a Subway, which I thought, the reason why I never started a business. It's because when I wanted to be a business owner, I was like, okay, well, everybody goes to Subway. It's guaranteed I'm going to make a lot of money. And I don't have $800,000 or whatever they need to start a business because it's expensive. Right? Yep. When I started discovering that there are so many business models out there that are a good fit based on people's personalities and also their level of risk and also the amount of money that they have to invest. During my events, we have this awesome company called Talk to the Camera, where there's this lady in Colorado who she was a stay-at-home mom, and what she liked doing, she was trying to figure out, okay, well, how can I actually create a business to be able to create some income for myself? And what she did was, well, everybody's into YouTube. They're all making videos and people are doing all these things. And she figured, well, why don't I, she liked doing that as well. And she's like, well, why don't I just teach kids how to do that and teach them production, teach them all these really cool things as an after school program. Well, had found a lot of success in Colorado, realized she could make a franchise, did it. And now she's a franchise company and she's looking for other franchisors. And the entry point is, I believe it's only like $25,000.
Wow. That's insane. Not to
it is. Yep.
So I was going to say, just not to mention that, like, even if, say, you don't have $25,000 cash in hand, there's even resources that you can connect, ambitious vets with to actually bridge that gap as well. Because, I want to add in here with even franchise opportunity as well, because that's one thing that me and even Maggie over here are starting to look at projecting over the next 3 years. Well, how are we going to build assets? How are we going to start, Grant Cardone says it best. You first got to make money, maintain it, and then diversify it. So what's our diversifying plan, right? And it's like to me, it's like a money machine. And why not be able to, take the risk and finding a lender that would lend money for long-term, already proven processes and systems that create profit, right? Exactly. So what would
it's a calculated risk that you're taking.
Yeah. And, there's myths out there, man. Just working with you over the past month and getting more aware on this event that you're launching on August 17th out here in San Diego, California, is that, people are afraid of like the money risk. I'm not good enough. I just want to pay the bills, man. I don't want to fail in business and fail my family. There's all these fears and self-doubt. What would you say to any ambitious vet that wants to plug their drive, their determination and ambition inside of a proven system, but it's just like scared, like I'm gonna fail my family, right?
I say go to Landmark. Honestly, man, like what they say is, the key to an extraordinary life, especially as an entrepreneur, is not only do you have 50% have to be an expert and have the skills, the technical skills for whatever you're doing, right? You got to know financing, you got to know all this other stuff to actually run a business and start a business. Yeah. But half of that is also the mind game, right?
Right.
Those doubts that are stopping you from achieving everything you want to achieve and things like that. So not only personal development is huge, but also get educated. There's education, and I think that's what's missing really for that third avenue of business ownership is we just don't know enough about business, right? Yeah, we do. I don't need to get an MBA to do a business. I don't need to do all this. But there's tools out there to get a mentor. That's a big part, right? And a franchise, they give you one already, the owner of the company. And the big thing about with education is that, especially as a broker myself, right? I educate people on franchises. But not only do I do that, is I connect them to the right business that will mitigate more of that risk because I got the money, right? Let's say I got my money when I was just saving up from deployments. And then that allows me to get a SBA loan, right? To be able to start a business. But just because you got the money and the ambition doesn't mean you're the right person for that right business. Like if I have a high risk tolerance because I'm a Navy SEAL and I'm just like balls to the wall, I'll do it. Well, just give me that mission and I'm going to accomplish it. You're probably, based on your assessments, which we offer a Zorkel assessment, which gauges how you are as a business person. You may be more prone to a business that maybe they've only been around for 3 years. So there's going to be procedures and operating procedures, but going to be a lot of watching and holding your hand through the process because you got this. But maybe you're a person that you're retired, you're 20 years, and you have a nice nest egg, but you want to keep it safe, right? So you're more of like, I want a company that's more established. Maybe they've been around for 30 years. They've had, thousands of franchisees, and that's what I want to do, Mm-hmm. So there's just so many variables, but using like a broker like myself, I'm able to, I guess, just be your matchmaker for what your goals are and stuff like that. And also be your coach for when there's those times where, I don't want to do it because I'm scared and all that stuff. Well, what I can do is really bring you back to your why. Like, why do you actually want to do this? Like, I'm not pushing you to start a business because that's up to you. But I'll be there to remind you of what you created from the beginning of why you wanted to do this. Is it the freedom, the time freedom? Do you want to be able to dictate the way that your life goes? I'll remind you about that.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I love the tailored, customized approach. I think that's huge, especially, I mean, Black Rifle Coffee is about to start franchising them in physical locations across the nation. I think they're well over a $10 million company right now. It seems like every veteran gets out and starts a coffee company or apparel company, right? So, fact matter is, I love what you're doing, man. I mean, I think any veteran needs, I myself included, 6 years ago when I first got out of the Marine Corps, was that I had to have someone hold my hand. I had to have someone start, walking me through step by step. I'm from going to where I am to where I want to go and tailor a solution to me. And I just love that that's what you're doing. And you're allowing veterans that desire more to become more quicker. And, that's what we're all about here.
Yeah.
Brother.
Well, long-term plan, I think I shared this with you before, is what I want to create with Veterans Franchise Group is I want to be that third avenue that everybody knows. Maybe you're that, that Lance Corporal, that's E3, right? Maybe that Lance Corporal where I knew about Veterans Franchise Group, I got educated, I went to an event. So now I know that maybe 5 years from now or 6 years from now or whenever, I have a plan.
Yeah.
I know that for me, funny thing is when I made E4, man, the first thing I did, I bought a Silverado.
Ka-ching! All of a sudden the cash flow goes down.
I knew Navy Federal Credit Union would approve. Oh, dude. Yeah, I went to that right away because I knew when I made E4, I was going to do it. But how would that be if I knew 4 or 6 years from now as an E4, if I just didn't do that? I saved my money. Man. I was smart about it. Increase my credit, that I can actually start a business versus, there's nothing wrong with school. I'm pretty educated, but that avenue I think is going to be amazing for people because it's just not there right now.
Yeah, no, amen, man. I mean, there's a reason why, Tony Robbins and, Russell Brunson and, all these heavy hitters just did a self-knowledge, course, and masterminds is starting to become a big thing, is because self-knowledge is important. There's formal and informal education, and what you're bringing in is just like, look, you can either follow the 80% or come join the 20% that are making the bigger wealth building influence and impact out in the world. So for that, brother, I just acknowledge you. So brother, I mean, we have a tradition here, man. 3 golden grenades. What are 3 golden grenades you could drop in here right now to narrow the time gap for any ambitious vet out there looking to make an impact sooner rather than later?
Perfect. So my 3 golden grenades: have a team. Having a team is how we survive when we're in the military, right? So just because you get out, you don't have to be a lone ranger. Have a team of recruiters, fellow veterans, anything to help you, to support you and empower you to achieve what you want to achieve. You don't have to be alone. Next thing, create that vision, man. And I keep talking about that. Be crystal clear on what you want to achieve, because if all you want to say is I want money, okay, well, go work at McDonald's because they'll give you money. But have that vision of what you want and go for it. And then the last thing is just continue to develop yourself. Just because you got your degree and all that stuff doesn't mean it stops, right? And especially the other things like personal development, landmark, get your mind game up. Because as an entrepreneur, people that, us that are up to big things as veterans, it's crucial. It's crucial for us to be able to create our lives, and personal development is the access to that.
Amen, brother. Amen, man. I mean, elevated mindset creates or destroys things, right? It's either you're creating, making things wrong and killing other people's creations, or elevating the mindset, man. So I love those 3 golden grenades. Ambitious vet, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you're live on replay, figure out how can you apply one of those golden grenades right now in your life. If it's, health and wellness, business, professionalism, career, whatever it may be, figure out one golden grenade right there that you could be taking immediate action to become more right now in your life. Well, Gilbert, man, how can people find more about Veteran Franchise Group and what you're doing in the recruiting world?
Yeah, no, perfect. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Gilbert Saguid. You could also go to my website for Veterans Franchise Group. It's just that, www.veteransfranchisegroup.com. My recruiting company is tldrecruiting.com. That's Tango Lima Delta recruiting.com. And hopefully come meet us at the event next Saturday. It's going to be amazing. It's at the VFW post in Coronado, California. So if you're in Southern California, or if you're not, please share. Actually, I just confirmed our raffle prize, and it's going to be pretty amazing. So for attending the event, it's a free event. You'll get a raffle ticket, and if you stay till the very end, what you have an opportunity to win is the San Diego Gulls Perch Suite. So what that is, you get this private suite. Man. I know, it's pretty cool. Private suite for 12 people, so 11 and your friends, and you get a runner to go grab your drinks or food or whatever. And it's pretty sweet, man. So
it's huge, man.
And obviously, if you make it on Friday nights, it's $2 Bud Lights at the games. So it's always a moneymaker, and it's a good time. So hopefully you guys can come up and win that prize.
Yeah, that's huge, man. But Ambitious Vet, you gotta show up. See, 98% of success in life is actually showing up. He's incentivizing you. If you show up, stay to the end, learn what's going to help you narrow the gap from where you're at to where you want to go, and becoming more and creating that impact, that wealth and influence that you want to be creating for your family. I encourage you to go and, maybe even win a $2 Friday beer session at a Goals game, which is always fun to watch ice hockey, man. That is such a fun sport to watch. So I'll be there, Ambitious Vets. If you're here local, I will be there. So I'll be able to meet you in person. You'll be able to meet Gilbert in person. And then how many franchise owners are you going to have there speaking?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So I'm going to have 3 franchise companies that are going to be there to share their companies. But most importantly, I'm going to have 2 veteran franchisees, meaning they're veterans, decided to start a franchise company. And they're just recent, like 3 years ago. So you get to hear the raw and uncut story of how they did it. We got this Air Force veteran that's married to a Navy SEAL, and they started sports clips, and they have a full-time job working it, and this is just running itself. And I got another Navy officer, prior enlisted, that started a company where they get to help seniors move and actually provide this customized service to help these seniors to downgrade their homes or to be able to move to a different place. So it's really cool, opportunity to give back in the civilian world with a business that they're running themselves.
Wow, that's huge. And you cut off a little bit. Are you saying that someone bought a sports clips?
Yeah. One of the speakers owns sports clips, and the other one of the other speakers owns Caring Transitions, which is they help seniors move.
Wow. Nice. Wow. I mean, there it is. I mean, Gilbert isn't the guy with all the answers, which we all value here, but he's bringing in some top level mindseted people to come in, narrow the gap, and where you guys want to go. Is there anything else you want to share around this event, Gilbert?
No, just, come in, ask questions, let's get connected. And I look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see you Ambitious Vets as well, guys. If, it's one of those things where it's just like, man, why not plug your discipline? Why not plug your leadership, your teamwork, your work ethic, all that kind of stuff into a proven process to become more quicker. I'm excited to hear from the speakers and actually start projecting what me and Maggie are going to do with our money in the next year, 2 years, whoever knows. We're actually moving to Texas soon, man. So we'll see. But Gilbert, brother, I just want to acknowledge you, man, for who you are for our community, man. I mean, it's been outstanding, brother, to get out inside the corporate world, fail inside the corporate world, do 2 transitions, and just like really get out and actually now start reaching back, pulling Ambitious Vets up to where they want to go, brother. I just acknowledge you for who you are for our community, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I really get that acknowledgement. Appreciate it.
Well, there you have it, Ambitious Vet. Episode number 61 of the Ambitious Vet Show with Gilbert Saguid. Hope you enjoyed that one just as much as I enjoyed creating it. Hey, here's the thing, Ambitious Vet. If you're a veteran a few years out who has discovered that free resources help get the stability you're looking for, but fail to have you understand how to achieve the occupation status, the income or life satisfaction that you envision just getting out of the uniform. I don't care where you're at. United Kingdom, Germany, Sweden, Canada, India. I want you to allow me to provide the frameworks, expertise, and the direction on accelerating your impact after taking off the uniform. Sound good? Simply just go to vettrainingcoaching.com to create the clarity, peace of mind, and confidence you need to execute on that next mission in life. Again, that's vettrainingcoaching.com to go ahead and get your journey going on executing that next mission that matters most to your life. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Feedback is what allows anything to improve in life, and we want to improve for you guys. So meet us in the middle and let's get better together. Sound good? Lastly, if you are listening to this, we already know that you're warrior made, but to become passion driven, just utilize just one golden grenade you heard today, and you're going to find your life being more meaningful. Let's go.